Tonight, the community remembers the life of a son, student, and friend.
You know, we have a rough road coming up.
MU student Riley Strain's body recovered from the Cumberland River in Nashville.
If he was 2 blocks away from us and they were walking him to us, it wasn't quick enough. We want him 2 inches in front of us.
Now, the road to recovery begins, along with a clear message.
I just ask that you mamas out there hug your babies tight tonight, please. Please, for me.
Tragedy tying together Mid-Missouri and Nashville.
We have a family of our own, and our kids have supported us the whole way.
This is KOMU 8 News at 10.
Coverage you can count on. KOMU 8 News starts now.
Family and friends of MU student Riley Strain gathered in Nashville tonight to remember his life. Good evening, everyone. I'm Evie Allen. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. They held a candlelight vigil after his body was found in the Cumberland River earlier today. Now, this marks the end of an exhaustive 14-day search. Strain went missing while attending his fraternity's spring formal in Nashville. Strain's godfather says the closure his family got today is rare.
We're blessed because a lot of people are put in this situation that unfortunately have bad outcomes and they never get their loved one back. She does have her son knowing where he is, and we get to take him home.
He added the publicity the case got worldwide is drawing new attention and leads to missing persons cases that remain unsolved.
Take our country back. Take our city back.
The votes are counted. The results are in. Missouri's first caucus in more than 10 years over. Former President Donald Trump winning all of Missouri's delegates in a landslide win, leaving Nikki Haley supporters disappointed.
I didn't think we had a phenomenal chance, but I thought it was a chance worth fighting for.
The caucuses bringing some people in mid-Missouri together.
I was pleasantly surprised how well it went.
Would you do it again?
Yes.
And dividing others. This is KOMU 8 News at 10, the Missouri GOP caucuses.
Coverage you can count on. KOMU 8 News starts now.
Tonight, Donald Trump dominates Missouri, the former president winning every county in the city of St. Louis.
KOMU 8's Decision 2024 election coverage starts now.
Polls are open for one more hour across mid-Missouri as residents make their voices heard across the region. Good evening, everyone. I'm Evie Allen.
And I'm Taylor Freeman. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We've got team coverage tonight with reporters spread out across the region. They're covering the key races and issues you need to know about, from a recall vote in Columbia to city council races in Jefferson City. But we begin first with Proposition 1 in Boone County.
Let's stop the killing. Let's end it. End it now.
Tonight, the Mid-Missouri community honors the victims of the Israel-Hamas war, how the conflict hits close to home for some.
He really saw people for who they were, like the good in everybody.
And after the death of a chef who helped open and run Casa Maria's in Columbia, hear what his daughters hope the community knows about their dad.
I just share with my colleagues that I'm withdrawing my name as a candidate for the Speaker designee.
U.S. Republicans are back at square one in the search for a new House Speaker. This is KOMU 8 News at 10.
Coverage you can count on. KOMU 8 News starts now.
The war between Israel and Hamas has reached a grim milestone with the death toll surpassing 2,500 people. Good evening, everyone. I'm Evie Allen. Thanks so much for joining us. We have team coverage tonight of how the Columbia community is reacting. KOMU 8's Chelsea Peter was at a vigil on MU's campus for Palestine, and KOMU 8's Hunter Walterman was at a prayer vigil for Israelis in South Columbia. But first, here's an update on the latest developments coming out of Israel and Gaza. Israel continues its airstrike campaign against Gaza as the war wraps up its 6th day. 1,300 Israelis have been killed, with more than 3,000 injured. In Gaza, 1,500 people have been killed, with more than 6,000 injured. The number of Americans killed in the conflict is up to 27. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken was in Israel today to meet with regional leaders. The White House says it will start evacuating Americans from Israel starting tomorrow. Meanwhile, the Israeli military says it's preparing for a potential ground assault on Gaza. In an interview with NBC News, Lester Holt asked Secretary Blinken what assurance he can give to the families of people who are missing.
First, Lester, you know this from talking to some of these families, no one can fully put themselves in their shoes. No one can know what this experience is like. We are doing everything we can to secure the freedom of those who've been taken hostage.
Tomorrow, Blinken is scheduled to meet with the Palestinian president. Back here in mid-Missouri, students and local leaders joined to express their grief and support for the families impacted by the Israel-Hamas war. KOMU 8's Chelsea Peter was at one vigil which led to a peaceful protest walk. She joins us now from our downtown newsroom with reaction. Chelsea.
This is Fox 13 News at 11.
We're just hoping that the victim makes it.
A road rage shooting in Kitsap County shakes up a small community and leads to big delays. What we know about the victim, currently in critical condition.
The city of Seattle has to change the way they clear homeless encampments. What today's ruling means for the future of this crisis.
Your heart just stops. You see girl off in the distance and you wonder if that's my niece.
A 14-year-old missing after disappearing in Tukwila. What her family is saying tonight. But we start in Des Moines, where a man is dead after he was shot in the parking lot of the Safeway on Pacific Highway South. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Rose.
And I'm Brian Jackson. This happened around 5 p.m. We're told that a man and woman were sitting in their car when two gunmen drove up next to them and opened fire. The man was shot and killed. The woman is alive. Police said that the car may have been stolen.
Well, right now you're taking a live look over Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. It was not the start to the season the Chiefs were hoping for. Detroit upsets Kansas City 21-20. Good evening, everyone. I'm Evie Allen.
And I'm Emily Spain. Thanks so much for joining us. The parking lots of the stadium were full of tailgaters earlier today. Now they're full of fans trying to leave that game. But earlier there were barbecue grills, music speakers, flags, tents, every spot nearly filled.
That's right. KOMU 8's Lacey Reeves was actually at Arrowhead and talked to one fan who was fired up for the game.
NBC News projects former President Donald Trump will be the winner in the South Carolina Republican presidential primary. The win is a slap in the face for former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley. She only received 38% of the vote in her home state. Meanwhile, Trump is coasting to a victory in the state with 60% of voters casting their ballots for him. Speaking to his supporters, Trump praised what he called the display of party unity.
But there's never been a spirit like this, and I just want to say that I have never seen the Republican Party so unified as it is right now.
Meanwhile, Haley slamming Trump, both Trump and President Joe Biden, for fanning divisions amongst Americans.
One of them calls his fellow Americans fascists. The other calls his fellow Americans vermin. They aren't fighting for our country's future. They're demanding we fight each other.
Haley has vowed to stay in the race through at least the batch of primaries on March 5th, also known as Super Tuesday.
Just under 80 years ago, a Missouri man laid down his life. We'll show you the effort to identify him and how you can help identify other fallen soldiers like him.
A one-of-a-kind rescue for a family, how a firefighter jumped into action to save a farmer's best friend.
Building community through lower prices. Coming up, the two moms helping families in Columbia save big. Plus, calling everyone with green thumbs. We'll tell you about the free event making Columbia just a little bit greener.